Sure. So Jesse Gilbert with the Texas State Aquarium. I've been involved in marine science and in the aquarium world for about 30 years now, working primarily with coral reefs, but that's transitioned to some shark and fisheries work, and really enjoyed just the unknowns of the ocean and how that comes together and the complexities and how can the aquarium and more so the Wildlife Rescue Center at the aquarium help some of those challenges and help the species that are in the oceans. I've worked with a number of different species of sharks, all the way the small guys, cat sharks, and some of the carpet sharks, up to the large sand tiger sharks, or like the brown sharks behind me, for the better part of 20, 25 years now. Hands-on with them when we need to be, so whether they're getting medical checkups or every now and then we'll have a pregnant female that's about to give birth, and so we have to make sure we're ready for that. They're interesting animals. They are, I think, fairly intelligent. Sharks are even one of the few fishes that we can actually train. So we can actually train sharks similar to that we train dolphins to participate in some of this. And so it's easier when you're dealing with a apex predator like a shark to have them cooperate as opposed to not knowing what's going on. So it's a lot of fun to work with them. You certainly have to be careful and conscious of what they can do. But fascinating animals, their ability to heal is remarkable. Watching them do that, watching them hunt when they really start to hunt is a pretty incredible thing. I saw Jaws as a kid, and then certainly as my career has progressed along, Jaws and then the other Jaws were all interesting. I think what was unique about it was it did hook people into the mystery of sharks, right? And it certainly made great whites and sharks scary, but I think at the same time it's that fascination and that fascination of the ocean, what lies beneath, how is that environment, how do we interplay with that environment. It certainly did scare people about sharks. And I think one of the things that I've learned over the years, even working with them in close proximity like this, is you have to respect them like you would any predator. But at the same time, they're not really looking for us. They're out there eating. They're doing different things. I had a professor once tell me, a shark bite is a shark tasting. That's just how they taste. They don't really have another way to do that. And so they're safe, but you do need to respect them. I tell people all the time, if you're in Yellowstone and you see a grizzly bear, you're not going to get really close to the grizzly bear. So why in the ocean would you go get really close to a shark? Just common sense.
And are there any other misconceptions that you think Jaws has led people to think about sharks that they should probably know more about?
I think one, the danger, then two, that leads to trying to eliminate the danger. And so sharks are incredibly important to the oceans. I was having this conversation the other day with some stakeholders around the importance of sharks as an apex predator, almost as a keystone species to the ocean. You pull that out, and you're going to have a pretty a bad situation on your hands. And so. Respect them; they're dangerous, but at the same time, hunting them is not the solution. One of the best ways you can help sharks is certainly visiting the Texas Stadium, Corpus Christi, Texas, and you can see multiple species of sharks. And there's actually sharks here at the aquarium you can touch, and so that's kind of that idea of making sure that people understand they're not scary. There are some really unique adaptations that sharks have. So I think that's first and foremost. And I think sustainable fishing, making sure that when you're out fishing on the beach, you're out fishing offshore, you're taking care of your line. Just don't throw your discarded fishing line in. I can't tell you the number of sharks that will come up and we see them entangled in fishing line, and other species too, sea turtles and dolphins. So if you responsibly fish, and we want people to fish, that's one of the great parts about living in Texas is the coastal fishing. Just do it responsibly. Make sure that you pick up your gear and you don't leave it on the beach.
And then last question, do you have a favorite sea film?
Weirdly, it's Jaws. I forget which one, but it's the one at SeaWorld. So I remember when I was a kid, that was kind of my first introduction into, and in the film, they catch I'll say the baby great white, and they bring it into SeaWorld. And that I remember that being one of the first times I realized that you could take marine biology and you could couple that with a career in zoological setting, something like that. So I would say that's my favorite. Every time it's on, I typically will sit there and watch it.